There was something out of the ordinary, a very strange presence, a root that had been pulled from the ground. It was deserted, vulnerable, and left out in the open. A house that was stranded, guarded by a black metal gate. No one had nurtured the yard for years. The root began to know its fate. Till then came a gardener, who broke the gate wide open, a beautiful young lady who had dreams for days. She eyed out the root amongst all in the garden. With hands wide open, "I'll give you a chance. All I want is for you to blossom." The root cried as it laid in the hands of the graceful woman. She then placed him beside her and began to tend to the garden. The silence grew larger. Hours passed and night began to fall. The root became concerned. She didn't seem tired at all. She then dug a hole beside him, approximately 7 inches in the ground, for 6 was too simple, unlucky, and profound. She watered him even though she didn't know what he would become, for he could be just anything, even if that anything was just one. Season after season continued to pass. When the nights became colder, she decided to dig him up and bring him inside in a tiny pot. She loved the little root so much, she had given all that she could. She watered him, sang to him, and gave him light so he could grow. "I'm not good enough," said the root one day. "I know where I came from and what I used to be. I don't want to go back that way. Who would ever choose me?" "It's not a matter of choosing," said the aged gardener. "It's a matter of belief. Value yourself, and you can be all you want to be." "But there are many other things in the garden. I still don't understand." The gardener then blew him some kisses, closed the curtains, and headed off to bed. The root cried for days, dwelled in the thoughts of his failure and again in the shadows of his sorrow, with no intentions of ever telling her. He no longer dreamt to grow. He had finally given in. "I can't ever tell her," he thought. "She will think that I'm nothing but a waste." A loud knock then came to the door. The root yelled for the gardener. The silence grew larger. He hadn't seen her since that night. He thought, "Was I that big of a bother?" The door came down, and large men came in. They carried out her lifeless body. The root felt as if it sinned. All but one man had left. He decided to stay behind, gave the root some water, and opened the curtain to give it sunshine. The root was even more in despair. He had lost his best friend. Life seemed hopeless. Now he had no one else to love. Then the large man came back. Just a few days later, he had driven him to a larger garden, where he would then find his beloved gardener. The man kneeled down to her stone and sat him right beside her. He dug a hole beside him, approximately 7 inches in the ground, for 6 was too simple, unlucky, and profound. They were finally reunited. However, he knew it would never be the same. The gardener was gone forever. He knew he couldn't love anyone, not now, not ever. The man began walking away, but before he finally disappeared, he had choked on a few words. "She loved you so much. She believed you could blossom." The root finally understood her words of grace. He then emerged from the ground 7 days later, and now, without a question, the rose is more beautiful and exotic than ever. Hey everybody, and thanks so much for tuning in and listening to The Root. My name is Niyahmarie, and I composed this poem back in the summer of 2015 when I was going through a rough breakup. I'm hoping that this poem has not only inspired you to possibly even create your own poetry in the future, but just to listen to maybe even because you enjoy poetry. So if you really love this poem, go ahead and like below, share with your friends and family. You can also subscribe to my channel for the latest updates on my poetry and performances. And I am hoping to update
very frequently. So come back soon, and I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks again.